Hey everyone, welcome to the Reboot Show Newsfeed. I am joined this week again by our expert resident panelist, Luke Stow. Welcome, Luke.
Hi, Amy. How you going?
Good. Excited to share with everyone, again, some news stories that have really caught our eye this week. One that I guess really caught my attention was there was someone in the news this week that you wouldn't necessarily associate with technology or being in the technology industry at all. And that person was Tom Hanks. So, Luke, why was Tom Hanks in the news this week?
Yeah, this is an incredible story, Newsfeed. So Philip Tully, one of the data scientists of a security company called FireEye, he created this AI version, machine learning version of Tom Hanks, a photograph of him, completely using open source technology available on the internet by using this software to scan all the current images of Tom, then produce this reproduction using AI and machine learning. I mean, this is exciting for people who are probably in the crime space of cybersecurity. What this means is, this is powerful because what this means is for less than $100, you can recreate a picture of someone that can be, used in all types of scenarios like documentation, online profiles, etc. The remarkable thing about this was how good it looked. So when you enlarged it, you could sort of see all the different folds of the neck and the aging. But as a thumbnail, it looks so good. And so, yeah, remarkable that can be created for under $100.
Well, that's right. I mean, I guess we'll see a lot of fake profiles now popping up with Tom Hanks's fake image on there, do you think?
Well, I've been watching my LinkedIn profile for a little while now, and I do notice that some of these photos of people that appear, you're just never quite sure if they're real or not. So, I think we will see more of fake profiles moving forward as, particularly as the monetization of having users connected becomes a really important thing. I think that fake profiles are on the increase.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just amazing technology to think that they can get it so accurate. That sort of blew my mind when I actually saw the image. So I'd encourage our listeners, if you haven't seen it, look it up and actually have a look at Tom Hanks's image there because it's pretty compelling.
Yeah, very compelling.
Yeah, great. And there was some other news that came up and, because in the US right now, they're on the election trail, and everything's heading towards November. And one person that pops up all of the time is Donald Trump. And so when I first saw this, I thought, is this fake news or is this actually going on? Because there's been some political angles into this as well. And what I'm talking about is the legal battle that's going on right now between Microsoft and Amazon. And it's all to do with a military contract. So can you shed some light on that, Luke, in terms of what's actually going on?
Yeah, I'd love to. Can you imagine, we'll have some people who are watching this that are sales people in the technology space. They'll get excited by this. Imagine being the salesperson of a $10 billion cloud deal with the American government. The $10 billion is being spent on the rejuvenation of its cloud computing for the Department of Defense. And what happened earlier this year was that the contract was awarded to Microsoft. Amazon took action in the court saying that Microsoft did not fulfill all of the criteria of the assessment being made, and that was successful. And Microsoft were forbid from doing any work to put all of their cloud technology in place. Then that was overturned. The government then came out and said, no, we've looked at the criteria, and in fact, it is fine, and it will be awarded to Microsoft. So Amazon's very disgruntled about this. This is a $10 billion contract. They were the front runners. I can see this just continuing to play out. And yes, you're right, Amy. Once again, Donald Trump features is because his argument with Jeff Bezos, who is obviously the CEO of Amazon and Amazon Web Services, but also the owner of the Washington Post. And, Donald says that he's not being nice about his country, about Donald. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, that's right. I mean, what does this mean for, companies in terms of, we don't have to go too much into the political side of things, but in terms of just when you're dealing at that level for these huge contracts, is this commonplace or is this, one of those bizarre occurrences?
Well, look, I think just referring to that, I think, businesses need to be really clear about their criteria when they're offering these type of contracts, small or large, and make that a fair playing ground. And, you know, if there are requirements that are specific, you'd expect those to be met by the people who are putting in a bid. So I think, you know, this is a scenario where Amazon, I think, quite within their rights to ask the question, if they feel like some of those requirements were not being met, you know, maybe it's a case of data doesn't lie, lies is data only.
Yeah, that's right. And I guess the person behind that, like you said, with that sales commission check would be a nice one with that $10 billion contract, that's for sure.
Yeah, I wish I knew who it was. I'd hit him up today.
Absolutely. And look, Amazon as well, their subsidiary, AWS, has been in the news recently too, particularly around when it comes to, there's been some privacy issues that have been brought up. And I'd like to get into that a little bit around their smart meters and the deal that was made around the data that is collected from those smart meters. I think there was around 1.6 million homes that this affects, and that's the sort of data that they're collecting. Can you shed a little light on that in terms of what was the deal that was made and how is this going to impact us from a consumer point of view when you're thinking about your data and your privacy coming from your smart meter box at home?
Yeah, once again, we see some really quite cool technology advancements coming out of New Zealand and also Australia, where Amazon AWS, in fact, which is a subsidiary of Amazon, have done a deal with Vector Utility, which is a utility based in New Zealand. They're looking at 1.6 million homes, so that figure's correct. And the idea here is that they are able to capture all the smart meter data and obviously store it within AWS. That data can then be analyzed, for all types of things. I mean, the power of this is quite amazing. You know, just by looking at your times and time frames that you're using utilities within your home, or, you know, appliances within your home, devices within your home, and what power is being used, and, you know, the time that you leave and come home, all of this type of information can be garnished from your smart meter and more. So that data goes into this repository for use by you know, Vector. But then also the proposal is that data, you know, can be unsold. So, you know, that data can be unsold. Obviously, privacy groups are very concerned about this. When you think about that data being made available and then merged with other data, you know, in a data lake type environment where you've got like a merger of lots of information. Maybe it's from a telecommunications company as well. And then you've got other things like credit card use. You start to build a really powerful profile about what's happening within that house. And so there's a lot of concerns around what that may mean from a privacy point of view. Of course, from the consumer perspective, this could mean better offerings and better service models and better, you know, technology advancement in the way that companies are engaging with households. So the smart household, Amy, this is going to be a space to watch with what happens with Amazon and Vector.
That's a great one because it's quite, you know, commonplace in Europe, right? And then this deal was quite significant, you know, coming up in the news for Australia and for that New Zealand company as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you think about the power that this gives, pardon the pun, to, you know, appliance manufacturers and, you know, looking at models about how's my appliance running, what power's it using, you know, that consumer data, this is quite a powerful tool. And so I can only see that being very attractive towards utilities and retailers who are trying to differentiate themselves in this utility market, this quite cluttered utility market where pricing is not really a differentiator. You know, it's harder, like I sit around my lounge room and talk about what utility, my utility is doing today. Quite frankly, it's not a very attractive conversation. But if they can mix things into that and it becomes more meaningful to the household, well, then I think that becomes a very powerful attribute to business models moving forward. So, yeah, we watch this space with interest. This is quite cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know we've got a really exciting segment coming up on the show around utilities and that whole space to really dive really deep into that, which I'm excited to share with everyone in the coming weeks as well, which is great. So, you know, thank you so much for that wrap up of the week in the news, Luke. I think there's been some really exciting stories there, and I'd love to hear from the audience too. which one was your favorite in terms of what really caught your attention? What are some of your thoughts that you think about in terms of some of the potential elements that we've spoken about today? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Make sure to comment down below and make sure to subscribe to our channel as well, The Reboot Show, to make sure you never miss an episode. So I'm your co-host, Amy Smith. It's been great to be with you. Thanks so much for joining us, Luke. See you next time.
Subscribe.
Bye.
Yeah, bye, Amy.